So our objective today is to discuss how diversity brings opportunity through different perspective, and that empowers our audience to feel more comfortable about having this discussion without fear. Our panelists, who themselves, beyond being a good-looking group, are the very embodiments of power and potential of diversity. And they're going to share their insights, experiences, and the innovative practices that have set them apart and enhanced their businesses. So first, I want to introduce LaShonda. LaShonda is a visionary entrepreneur and advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, making significant strides in transforming the pet and animal industry. As a founder of the Black Pet Business Network, she is dedicated to creating a more inclusive and equitable future for all within the broader pet industry. In her role as a leader, speaker, writer, and entrepreneur, LaShonda has been at the forefront of driving initiatives that go beyond business success. Her commitment to breaking down barriers and amplifying underrepresented voices has led to the creation of BPBN, an organization that stands as a beacon of diversity and empowerment in the pet and animal sector. Michael Jones' professional journey epitomizes leadership, innovation, and a steadfast commitment to improving lives, both human and animal. As Chief Operating Officer of Ava's Pet Palace, Michael collaborates with his daughter Ava and wife Ina, steering the brand towards excellence in pet care. With his guidance, Ava's Pet Palace has thrived, standing out for its high-quality, health-focused products and the growth of socially responsible and highly engaged young entrepreneur herself. Michael's experience also includes an 18-year tenure at the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, where he has served as a reactor inspector and emergency response coordinator, showcasing his dedication to public health and safety. His leadership extends into his local community, having served on the school board for 5 years and currently serving in the role of board president. Savina Singh is the owner and operator of JoJo Modern Pets, certified women-owned business based in Illinois, specializing in the production and importation of pet products. Over the last 10 years, they have specialized in helping companies diversify supply chains, partnering with companies in China, India, Mexico, Turkey, Poland, Colombia, UK, and Spain. JoJo's Modern Pets makes feeding supplies, walking accessories, pet bedding, a variety of toys, and natural chews. They've expanded their services into digital distribution for brands and co-packing services for the pet industry. In 2022, Savina joined the board of directors for the American Pet Products Association. Savina has worked with congressional leadership, various heads of state and their staff, and has a deep love for advocacy. Prior to her work in the pet industry, Savina led a political software company that helped with candidates, nonprofits, and 527s. With over 5,000 clients, she has worked on advocacy projects with the large organizations for Microsoft. Savina believes that every industry has a voice, business, and advocacy goes hand in hand. Brian Taylor, affectionately known as the dog father of Harlem, stands as a testament to the profound impact one individual can have on animal welfare and community service. With a lifelong passion for animals, Taylor's journey from an animal-loving child to a community leader and entrepreneur is marked by his dedication to providing care and love to pets through his Harlem Doggy Day Spa. This venture has not only established a sanctuary for pets in New York City, but also solidified Taylor's role as a pivotal figure in advancing for pet welfare. His vision extends far beyond the confines of Harlem with this initiative, the Pup Relief Tour. It's a nationwide endeavor aiding pets and their owners nationwide, offering free grooming services to communities in need. Taylor's influence stretches to international shores with his efforts in Africa, aiming to replicate his model of pet care and community support. By focusing on education and empowerment, he seeks to improve welfare of pets and their communities, demonstrating his global commitment to animal welfare. So for the first question I'd like to ask the panel, let's just begin with an understanding of our foundational terms. When we talk about diversity, what does it mean to you personally, and why do you believe it's critical for our industry?
Okay. So I do, as Nidhi mentioned, a lot of work in education. Diversity is a global term. Diversity is a thing that we live. Diversity is the willingness and the ability for us all to do things without, focusing specifically on specific things, focusing specifically on, one group, but it's focusing with data in mind on the things that will help us all grow and improve. It's not to, as we can, look around the hall here today and find, the problems is to look out there and say, hey, how can we help the groups that aren't represented here? And in Ava's Pet Palace brand, she's my daughter, so I have the direct ability to do that. And today, Ava's one of the brands that's often represented here in these trade shows. So we hope to close that diversity gap that we've identified in the market.
So I think when I think about diversity, one of the things I think about is not just race or ethnicity, but I also look from a small business perspective. If you don't fit the norm, quote unquote norm, that is what I think of diversity. Within this industry, we're starting to see growth of diversity, and that comes from a woman-owned business, a Black-owned business, a female, as I mentioned, woman-owned business, a minority-owned business. I think it is extremely, extremely important for us to take a look at really what diversity is. It's just not one bucket, and not be intimidated by the discussion of having it.
Diversity means a lot to a lot of different people, but I think to me, if you think about dollars and cents, I think when everyone is included, there's an opportunity to get more, people, excuse me, I'm sorry. When everyone is included, I think there's a lot of opportunity on the table that's left when a company doesn't have a full diversity about or different viewpoints from the animal perspective. I think diversity helps each manufacturer, each service, and each product provider at the bottom line of everything, because we all as individuals have opinions, and our opinions makes a big difference in this industry. And I think it helps, take some of those. It helps brings more people to the table, so there's more opportunity for everyone.
Well, if anybody knows me, I got to do this first. I know Neethi knows. First of all, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. I don't know if I'll have this opportunity to do it, so I'm going to do it right now while I have a moment. Thank you guys for taking the time out to be a part of this conversation. I thank everybody for coming and supporting and being a part of this conversation and listening. Special thanks to Trevor, Fit Bullies. I told you I was going to do it. I said I was going to do it. Paul, I see you. Thank you. I love you. I support you. Dante as well. Dante with American Bullies Against Bullying. Everybody go talk to him afterwards. But diversity to me is this. Our differences, but it brings us together. Of course, we have animal welfare represented here. We have breeders represented here. We have manufacturers. We have all these different men and women in the room. We're all different, but we're all here. We're diverse, but we're united. So I believe that for me, diversity is every which way of like the way that we live, the way we talk. I'm sorry, guys. I took some medicine earlier. I'm a little out of it, but it's how we're represented in these moments. These are the moments that matter. And I believe being here, us united as men, as women, as animal lovers, that's what makes us different, but it also makes us the same. So diversity is everything to me. It's everything we do.
So I love what you guys all said. I think something that I heard was that when we talk about diversity, a lot of it comes down to perspective, right? This idea of you're bringing people in with different personal experiences, different life experiences. And what's bringing them together is that there's a mutual respect of that difference in perspective. So when you think about diversity, and maybe in an industry that's kind of slow to change, there's often misperceptions about what's DEI, what's diversity. What do you think are some common misunderstandings that you've encountered, and how do these misperceptions impact the progress of diversity initiatives?
I think a misconception is that diversity is white or black. It's not just white or black. It's where you come from. It's who raised you. It's where you went to school. Do you have an ability or a disability? I believe the biggest misconception is that diverse is just about color, and it's way more than that. It's deeper than that. It affects us all in so many different ways, but I think people stop because they believe it's just going to turn into a white or black conversation when it's not just that. It affects everybody.
One of the biggest misconceptions that I've seen in the past is that there's some inherent lowering of the performance bar. You see it today on one of the biggest platforms in the world with X and Elon with his DEI must die campaign. There is no such thing. When you think black, when you think women, when you think minority, people just make the assumption that the bar gets lowered for some reason and that you have to bring 50 years of experience into a place before you can be a contributor. If you've got the experience, if you've got the willingness to work for it, there's no reason that people think diversity means that the bar has been lowered for anybody. It should mean people are working 10 times harder to make themselves fit in a space that has historically shown that they were not desired. And that's by the face of the industries that we live amongst in the States today. So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that I personally try to break and that I try to teach Ava, our daughter, about, and the people that I work with that are not black about, that there's no lowering of the bar. If you hire a diverse candidate or diverse folks in your company, you have to trust and believe that inherently the systems have treated them in a way that forced them to work a lot harder to achieve. So there's actually an inverse relationship there. The work that goes into their success has probably been far and above what you can conceive.
I think the misconception that plays a major part is that if I am bringing in diversity into my company, am I doing it as a requirement? Am I being pushed to do it? It actually is this approach of saying, hey, what else is out there? Let me go a little bit beyond. This industry has changed. Buying habits of consumers have changed. Retailers, their approach of trying to find new consumers, segmented markets, such as the Hispanic market, or cater to them, it requires you as a company to be able to bring in people with different backgrounds. If you're not doing that, you're not helping, you really aren't helping your company to grow. The problem is with C-level individuals, executives, they always love to hire people just like themselves. It is the really successful ones that look outside and say, hey, let me hire somebody else. Somebody where, hey, maybe we have this little weakness here and we need that, grow in that area. It's not all about strengths, right? Or somebody just like you. So I think that's a bit of a misconception, is that it's a requirement. If you actually, and I think a lot of companies don't do this, if you actually take a step back and say, who really works for me? As you had mentioned, it's different backgrounds. It is education. It is upbringing, it is ethnicity, it is race, it is religion, across the board. So we are diverse. A lot of companies are diverse. I think the thing is, having this discussion today, there shouldn't be a stigma attached to it. There shouldn't be a hesitation and a fear attached to talking about diversity. All of us can do it, right? We all come from different backgrounds. So I think that's something that, I think what you're doing today is an amazing thing for this industry, because it's making us a little bit more aware within our businesses to say, hey, how am I utilizing also these people that are a little bit different in my company?
So I'm an influencer. I'm on TikTok probably 5-6 times a week, and I'm grooming dogs live. I usually have about 1,000 people watching me groom dogs all over the world. And the question that always asks, like, how do I get into this industry? But I think what the challenge is that I think the industry need to do a better job and really speaking to everyone. I think there was a speaker that came on board before our segment and is saying that in the new age of marketing, you have to tailor your marketing to everyone individually. So when I say there's money left on the table, it's that how do you speak to the Black pet parent in Harlem? How do you speak to Hispanic pet parent who have dogs, who have cats, or in West Africa? I was just in West Africa for like 4 weeks where we were doing dog grooming education. There's also a buying power there. A lot of those pet parents want to buy food. They want to buy shampoo. They want our services. So like, how do you speak to that? I was just in Brazil. I was in Brazil and I was so shocked about so many pet parents, all the veterinary services, all of the pet stores. And I'm like, is the pet industry doing a good job speaking to everyone? And is it tailored to everyone? Because I think that's where the challenge is. And as the market change and as some of our clients, our consumers are they either getting new pets or they're retiring from being owners, what's the new generation look like? Most of them are on social platforms. And if you look at groups like, the Black pet parents or the Hispanic pet parent Instagram groups, these are all new clients and you have to be able to speak the language to be able to sell to them. So don't be afraid of diversity. Welcome this because now you're going to have a whole group of people that you can speak to.
So, in your opinion, what role should industry leaders play in promoting diversity? How can leaders influence change and foster an inclusive industry culture?
What you want to?
In my opinion, it does start at the top. So I do believe that if they have better hiring practices, I think that if it is more embedded into the company, that this is who we are versus this is what we have to do because of regulations and we have to have. If it's more embedded into the company, I do believe that if they have better hiring practices, I do believe they can go a lot farther in reaching those audiences that you mentioned. If you are hiring more people who are Latina or African American or for wherever you are, you can have more people that can speak and say, hey, we love chilies. So we want a chili flavored dog food or something that celebrates who they are. Everyone should want to be included. They do. They want their pets included as well. So it's that inclusion part where we have our hiring practice, how we're hiring, being more mindful of going to these places, not just going to, a HBCU because, that's where all the Black students are, but also really like dig in. There are other places where we are, where we work, where we congregate, where we're looking for jobs and we're looking for opportunities. I've always been inviting other people from outside of the pet industry because there is so much opportunity here. So if you just be very mindful and creative in who you're hiring and where you're hiring them from, I believe that from the top, it'll rainfall in and scatter that within the organization, diversity will thrive.
I mean, I always like to talk about dollars and cents because I think that's what the manufacturers and everyone here really focus on. The minority dollar. We're one of the people that spend way more money than we're supposed to be spending on things that we love. And I'm telling you, a lot of people love the animals. Black people, Hispanic, older, younger, doesn't matter. We love our animals. They're part of our family. So if the money's being spent by us, we need to be in these positions so we can help make decisions too in creating products and services that cater towards us. You can't speak to a group if you don't have proper representation because you're not going to be able to speak the language, the lingo. You're not going to be able to, in your marketing, some of these, the margins are small. I get it, but like the marketing also have to represent the industry as a whole because I'm telling you, I've been in business for 15 years, and to this day, my clients, my real clients that follow me through this whole journey of mine, you know, they look just like me. And I have to say that, and it's nothing to be afraid of. But I think the opportunity is there, and I think we all can benefit from it. And I think you said it earlier, you know, the most diverse company, you know, make close to 19% in profit every year. It's true. The numbers are there. So let's focus on getting our pets are diverse. So we need to be diverse too, from the company end of things, and also knowing your consumers and knowing where they're coming from and understanding and being able to speak their language.
So I think my perspective is a little different because I come from a manufacturing standpoint, and also I'm part of APPA as a board member. I will give a little bit of a personal story here, how I joined APPA. I think it's very important for everybody to understand. It was a little bit of a journey. I actually, APPA sends out an email and they say, hey, listen, members, we'd love to have people put their names in to join the board. And so what happened was my brother, who always tells me to do things, even when I don't want to do them, he said, why don't you just put your name in? He's like, you've been on multiple boards. Why don't you do this? You love the industry. You have some worth. To get, you bring a different perspective. So I said, okay, not a problem. I believe I submitted my resume about 4 or 5 times. Okay, 4 or 5 times. Every time I submitted, I was like, what am I doing? I'm not even getting a response here. My brother said, do you want to make a change? I said, yeah, I do. I was like, okay, I will submit again. Alice Tillett from PetMate called me up. She's like, listen, we need more women on the board. She said, are you interested? I said, absolutely, I'm interested. I would love to. She's like, we're looking to also have small business owners here as well. APPA itself, about 70% of its members are small businesses. We need representation. That's diversity. Diversity comes in different levels. So from a leadership perspective, the board actively was looking for some diversity. But she told me, it is very difficult to get people to fill out those applications and to submit their names. What does that mean? That means that you actively also have to put your hat in the ring. If you want these places, you can't just sit by and say, oh yeah, I'm standing here. Hello, do you know me? Just because I look different? No, you still have to actively participate. And I think it's really important for you to understand that from a leadership perspective. Sometimes they don't know who's out there. They don't know who's available. It's like submitting a resume for a job. It's the same thing. And I think, people are willing to give others a chance, but I don't think we as individuals, we will be given a chance in this industry. But as you had mentioned, there's a huge market share that we're catering to. There's a lot of opportunity right now for us to get involved. And by the way, if you want to be involved in APPA, we always love seeing people put in applications to be part of the board or any type of committees. So
And my response, coming from the industry I come from, nuclear, I mean, they're heavy on captains, right? As a captain of a ship, because of that accountability piece. If something happens, guess who's to blame, right? It always goes back to the captain. So the captain is the lead. In leadership, you have to be the one willing to put your life on the line to make that thing work the best way that it possibly can. You have to consider everything outside of your wheelhouse and the expertise that you have in your ranks to become the best that you possibly can. So with respect to diversity, if you see something can be improved and you see an industry out there that may be suffering in certain areas, if you, as a part of We the People, see a group not represented, you as a leader should have the ability and take the accountability to go out and identify channels that give you the resources that you can bring to bear to make everyone in your organization, as well as this country, the best that it possibly can be. So when I think of a leader, the leader has to be willing to really, have those hard conversations with everybody in and outside of their networks to make that we and We the People a reality. And when you start talking about, and that's just from the internal, maybe as a manufacturer, but externally facing, when you're a retailer, customers want to see themselves in your stores. Customers are more likely to buy from you if they see themselves in your stores. They're more than likely to support your organizations if they see membership or staff in your organization as active participants. So leaders really foster an environment of growth, support, development, and creativity, because those all make organizations and businesses better.
So when we think about your own personal experiences, what changes do you hope to see in the pet retail industry regarding diversity and inclusion? What steps do you think are necessary to ensure a more inclusive and representative sector?
Sure. I think it's involvement. I think there shouldn't be a hesitation to be involved. I've been in the industry for 12 years, and it is astounding to me that we don't have manufacturers that are Black owned as many. We don't have manufacturers that are women owned. We do not champion them either. However, I will say when I started out 12 years ago, it was very different. Now I'm seeing a growth of it all. I'm starting to see, this panel today. This is amazing to me to be able to see that we have this panel, this group of people getting involved. I think having these discussions are so important. I just cannot stress enough the importance of not shying away. If you want to get involved in this industry, you can get involved on so many different levels, from retail, from manufacturing, from grooming. There's so many different areas that you can get involved in, but don't shy away from it. I mean, times have changed. Customers have changed. We're a diverse group of people. Be open to it. Cater to the people that you need. Our manufacturing company, what we ended up doing was catering to more the Latino community. The way we did that, we built a brand around it. And it had great reception, which is kind of cool. These are things that if you work for a company and you want to get more involved with your company that is within the pet industry, come to the table with these ideas. Again, if you can bring in the dollars, it matters, right? So I think my biggest thing I would say is don't shy away from getting involved. There should be no reason why. If you are the only minority in the room, it does not matter. What you say matters. You have value. So
I think three things need to happen. I think there needs to be more education. I think there needs to be more mentorship. And I believe there needs to be greater access. Do not invite us to the party and don't invite us to dance. We're here. We want to learn. What are the next steps? How can we be more involved? Like I said, and I always say, and if anybody was here earlier, I hate talking about DEI. I absolutely hate it because seldom is there any action behind it. I don't want to leave the stage today without inspiring someone to actually create a program or to find someone to mentor or to connect with someone to grow their business or their brands. Not having access has kept a lot of people out of the rooms because we don't have people that represent us. You know, you can't be what you can't see all the time. There's no one. Growing up, I've been in the industry for 17 years now, professionally. I didn't have anyone that looked like me. I literally connect with Brian on Instagram, and he became my best friend in the industry because there was nobody else that looked like us. No other Black groomers who were speaking positivity and just, I was so excited about that, but he was the only person doing that at that time. And honestly, that's why he's such a leader today. I think that if more companies, manufacturers, stores, whatever, I think there has to be greater education. There has to be greater opportunities for what, for what we're trying to do, because we all have different gifts, skills, and talents. We need to connect to the right people that are going to help us make a difference so that we are at that party, we're engaging, we're dancing, we're having a good time, and we can actually go toe to toe with competitors. We can stand in these rooms with our head held high more comfortably. So I think those three things, access, mentorship, and education, have to happen before we really make an impact in the industry itself.
I definitely second everything you said. Thank you. I really think mentorship is such a big part. I think, I was a banker turned dog groomer. I didn't know what the heck I was doing 13 years ago. And I literally had to come to these shows, these expos, and look for people who are willing to help me. And as I mastered my grooming skills and I got my community involved in what I'm doing, so that's the reason the Puppy Relief Tour came about, where I was looking for other Black groomers to go around the country to offer free grooming services because I wanted to work with more people like us. So I think when you talk about mentorship in all areas, from the product side to the service side and all that, the information out there, but you need direction. And if we understand the direction, you'll see more manufacturers who are, BIPOC, who are creating their own products, who are just revolutionizing the industry, because there's so much more money on this table. And we need to go out there and be open because these margins are small. Your clients that you have right now, some of their pets are seniors. They're going to be gone. Some of them, with the inflation, a lot of people don't have all this excessive income to spend anymore. So if in the next 10, 15 years in this industry, I think it's important to get everyone included in all areas so that the buying power is there so we can access that. Because at the end of the day, it's all about dollars and cents. You guys are all here. All of these, companies are here just trying to find buyers to buy their products. But you got to help these companies understand their clients and also be able to speak the language so they can have everyone included. Because that's the only way this margin is going to go up. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, everything sounds great when you talk about DEI, but at the end of the day, if we're all included, we all profit.
So I just wanted to add, when I started in this industry too, my brother and I own the company together. And just to give you a little bit of background, I'm Indian. My brother has a turban. So we look different, People thought we were an international factory or facility. And it was really hard to get in with distributors because we were also a small business. So my brother and I looked at each other and we said, okay, we'll buy our own warehouse facility. We will set up a distributor program so that we can help other small businesses in sending out their products and catering to independent retailers and so forth. We did that because we really struggled within this industry. it's not always easy. And I agree with that. It's not always easy. And you're always looking for mentorship. I know for me, when I started, finding a mentor in this industry was very difficult. It's a tight-knit group of people that know each other for a really long time. Even though it's a very young industry, it's a really tight group of people that have known each other forever. However, if you want to be in this industry, you have to choose to be in it. I will just state one last thing. I just want to tell you my experience too, knowing that I wanted to be in this industry. When I manufactured my first round of product, 70% of it was defective. I got a container in, it was in a warehouse, and I literally stood there and I was like, what am I going to do? I come from the tech background. I worked with politicians and I decided I love pets. I want to get into the pet industry and this is what I want to do, right? So this is what I did. I put money in a container, created products, 70% defective. Called up my mom and she said, wipe those tears up. If you want to do this, this is what you're going to do. Clean out that product, salvage what you can, and sell it. That's what I did. Things don't come easy. I understand that they don't come easy. I know I look different. I am different. That's okay. That's my value. That's my value. So I think this industry gives us a lot of opportunity. It's a young industry. But the people that have been here for a long time, they don't know you need mentorship or you need help unless you really knock on the door or you say, hey, you know what? I know you're doing this right. Can you maybe help me out? I didn't really do that. And I wish I would have done that a little bit better. That's where I also failed. So I think, mentorship is there. I think there are people out there that would be willing to help and work. And I think we have these groups and, now that we're creating different organizations and associations, I think it will be available much more available to us right now. So.
I'll extend on that a little bit. And it's much more speaking to the accountability piece for the industry. We see there, we just need everybody to come to the table more honest with what those needs are, because the channels, getting into the channel isn't as easy as demonstrated by the halls we have here today as one might think. This is an industry that is a very large industry, $154 billion a year plus 4% every year is the projection. If it were easy to come into this room and make an impact, it would be visible. It's not visible. I think we're in a day and age now where that recognition is being stated more broadly. We're starting to see the efforts. We're starting to see things being planned. But that table's going to need us all sitting at it. There's not a value that can be placed on the hours that you contribute at that table. But at the end of the day, there is a benefit that everybody who is willing to sit at that table will see, whether it be monetary or other. I'll leave it up to you to define what other is. We had some amazing consultants come up and approach Ava as one of the youngest entrepreneurs in the hall. We didn't solicit that, but that group recognized the impact that somebody like Ava could have on an industry. One side of the coin, you have the amount of inspiration that she's able to provide to the communities that she has access to. Now imagine how far that goes when Ava begins to tell that story to somebody that, hey, this consulting firm that's massive and everybody knows in the industry helped this little 16-year-old girl get up off the ground, right? Helped her become a force in this industry that does in no way look like her, right? So I think Ava's the ideal case here because she's a young entrepreneur, but there are a lot of brands in the middle. There are a lot of 20s, 30s, 40 somethings that are launching brands today that want to be a part of this. We don't have all the knowledge, but we need your experience. And we don't always, when we walk into these hallways, know how to engage in the conversations with, people who don't always look like us. So, hey, I'll open up the door and say, when you see a group of Black or brown people standing around talking, they're probably trying to figure it out. Inject yourself into the conversation and introduce yourself. That'll gain you so much more leeway in your brand than you could imagine. That it's unimaginable. I can't put a value on what that will gain your business, but I can guarantee that it will open up your mind and your heart to what it is, the impact that you will have on us and that we'll have on you.
That is such a great way to end this panel. I think this idea of just opening up your mind and opening up your heart and not just making it an individual, but a collective responsibility to take action, I think is a great message to leave us all with. So thank you, panelists. We really appreciate your time and perspective.
And before we go, everybody, we do have our networking mixer. If you go out this back door to the exit sign, you can follow me. It's room N20A. That's Nancy 20 Apple, up the stairs and to the right. So we hope that you all can join us more there for more networking and having some powerful conversations. Thank you.